St. Louis is the home of many baseball legends, players like Stan Musial, Dizzy Dean, and Bob Gibson. But there's one legendary pitcher who had a long and storied history with the city of St. Louis, even though he never played for the Cardinals. In fact, he didn't even play in Sportsman's Park until he had already been a pro for almost 15 years. He's a Hall of Famer and considered one of the 20 greatest baseball players of all time. He is Leroy Satchel Paige. The first time St. Louisans got a look at Paige, they could have been forgiven for thinking he wasn't that special. The year was 1927, and Paige was pitching in one of his first games for the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro National League, who were in St. Louis visiting the fabled St. Louis Stars. In the game Paige started, he didn't even make it out of the first inning. He hit the first 3 batters he faced. The third batter, Stars catcher Mitchell Murray, was so sure that Paige was targeting him that he chased Paige around the field with his bat, starting a massive brawl between the clubs. Though Paige's career got off to a rocky start in St. Louis, he soon became one of the most recognizable names in Negro Leagues baseball. By 1941, Paige was such a star that 2 promoters organized a July 4th game at Sportsman's Park to be played between Paige's Kansas City Monarchs and the Chicago American Giants, another Negro Leagues team. But Paige was the star. He featured in nearly every advertisement for the game that ran in the city's newspapers. It was to be the first Negro Leagues game played at Sportsman's Park since the early 1920s. Not only that, but for the Monarchs and Giants game, Sportsman's Park relaxed its segregated seating policy. At the time, Sportsman's Park was the only segregated ballpark in the major leagues. But for this game, black fans could buy tickets for seats that they had previously been barred from. The game was a massive success. Over 19,000 fans came out that day to watch Paige and the Monarchs dominate the Giants 11-2. The success of the game led to more Negro Leagues games being scheduled at Sportsman's Park, and to the eventual segregation of Sportsman's Park itself in 1944. But Paige's ties to St. Louis don't stop there. In 1951, only 4 years after Jackie Robinson broke Major League Baseball's color line, the 45-year-old Satchel Paige signed with the St. Louis Browns. Over the next 3 seasons, Paige would pitch over 300 innings for the Browns, and he was so good that he became the first black pitcher selected to the American League All-Star Game in 1952. He left the Browns after the 1953 season, but returned to the major leagues for 1 game with the Kansas City Athletics. In that game, he pitched 3 innings and even struck out a batter. Not bad for a guy who was about to turn 60 years old.
To learn more about the Missouri Historical Society, visit mohistory.org.